Hey there, it's JVL with my best friend Sarah Longwell, publisher of the Bulwark. Sarah, it's I hate everybody today.
Okay.
Can we talk about that?
Sure. Do you want to tell what people why are we doing this?
We wanted to try a tiny secret. Just a little we do a secret podcast for members of Bulwark Plus. We do it every Friday. It seems to be quite popular. People enjoy it. But we wanted to do just a little tiny secret, a little secret for YouTube. And if you want the real show, go to thebulwark.com and subscribe. So there was a piece that ran a couple weeks ago in ProPublica that just came across my field of vision this weekend, in which ProPublica went and spoke with undocumented immigrants across the country and found a huge number of them Trump supporters. And the common thread running through it is they are illegal immigrants, but they are good illegal immigrants. And they really resent more recent illegal immigrants, especially those who have claimed asylum. And they want those illegal immigrants deported, but they are confident Trump won't deport them. And this made me angry. I don't know how else to say it except that it made me quite angry. And it made me come around on mass deportations. Like, let's do this thing. Let's just do this thing, right? We haven't gotten the validated voter numbers yet, but it looks like Trump did about 50% of Hispanic voters, a little less than 50%. Almost certainly went over 50% mark with Hispanic men. And if it turns out that what Republicans needed to break through with Hispanic voters was that they needed to promise to use the military to enforce mass deportations, including of children who are American citizens whose parents happen to be undocumented, then I'm just okay, let's do this thing. I don't know what, at some point the leopards have to eat people's faces. Right. And for Democrats to stand up and try to stop something like this from happening, saying, look, you say that you voted for the leopards eating faces because you think the leopards won't eat your faces, but they will come for you eventually. We promise you. And so we're going to protect you from that. No, don't protect them from it. Okay. Let the leopards eat the faces.
So for those of you who do not regularly listen to The Secret Show, this is the part of the show where JVL posits a angry theory and I push back. And we're going to start by untangling a couple things here that I think you're conflating.
Yes.
So one is you are angry at some people who are quoted in one ProPublica piece, which is you just happened to read it, and that now has...
It's also the Atlanta Journal-Constitution piece from the day after the election. Remember that?
This has caused you to entirely say you're in favor of mass deportations because some of these quotations made you mad. Okay, those illegal immigrants who gave those quotations are not allowed to vote, which means they are not part of the 50%.
No, their children,
Hispanic
however,
vote.
Also quoted in the... Also, their children were Trump voters, and this woman, Rosa, said that she was proud that her sons voted for Trump because of the immigration stuff, and even volunteered that one of her sons has a "Let's Go Brandon" bumper sticker on his car. Mm-hmm. Great. Let's do this thing.
Well, look, I do think that there was always at the heart of some of the ways in which, just through a political lens, that the Democrats have thought about immigrants coming here. And the Democrats now are the sort of much more the party of, yes, we want more people to come. And Joe Biden really, the border was wide open for much of his term. And I think it's a big part of why Kamala Harris lost. Listening to these focus group, the one thing that they know about her was that she was supposed to be the immigration czar. People seem to remember that one little nugget of information. But now Hispanics, as everyone will tell you, are not a monolith, but they are culturally quite conservative in many ways. And especially, I think, people coming from other countries who are much more familiar with a strongman mentality, where there's more authoritarian flair, find something quite familiar in Trump. And so while I think you're right that there is a strange sort of close the door behind me or pull the ladder up or whatever the phrase might be. I did a lot of focus groups with Hispanic voters, and now these are Hispanic, and many of them sort of had recently become citizens, nobody talks more about the border than Hispanics. And I think that is just has been a misapprehension, a misunderstanding on the part of Democrats who thought that Hispanics would continue to be with them. That they're not. They're not. Culturally, they are much more conservative. Financially, they are much more conservative. They believe in the kind of thing that Donald Trump is putting out there, especially the kind of cartoonish faux patriotism.
So this is where I really think Democrats need to learn from Trump. And the big lesson they need to learn is transactionalism. Because the Democratic Party is currently in the business of trying to do things for people who are never going to vote for them. And I think that's insane and ass backwards. And that's not what Trump does, right? And so why are Democrats out there like defending immigration? Who's voting for them because of that, right? And if you're a pro-immigration voter, well, where are you going to go? If the Democrats are suddenly becoming immigration hawks, where are you going to go? You don't have any place to go anyway. It's like what Trump used to say about the pro-lifers. What are you going to do? You got no choice. And I would say also the other half of this is that tweet you sent me this morning from the Department of Health and Human Services celebrating Happy Pansexual and Pan-Romantic Pride Day. And everything ought to be transactionalism. How many votes are you getting?
Yeah, if I celebrate the pansexual transatlantic Pride Month, what was the name? I got to tell you, I sent this to JVL because JVL will sometimes JVL will sometimes be like, just because Twitter user Liberace6241 tweets something insane, Republicans will say, see, all Democrats think this. And I push back on that and say, look, there's a lot of crazy stuff that institutional Democrats are putting out there. And I say this as a very proud member of the LGBTQ plus community, whatever, it's all gone too far. It's all got to stop.
You're right.
And when I'm right, I'm right.
I just look at this and I think to myself, Democrats, start being transactional.
Happy pansexual.
Where are the votes?
Pan-romantic Pride Day. This doesn't need to be a thing.
How many votes does that, hang a number on how many votes that is going to win the next Democrat? It makes me insane. And the level.
See, I don't even agree with you about the transactionalism. I think the whole point of a liberal democracy is that you have things like, pluralism, the rule of law, free speech, and that they are applied equally to everybody. It should not be transactional.
Not no more they ain't.
Yeah, well, you seem to want to, get into the kind of vortex of backlashes, the tit for tat, Montagues versus Capulets, Hatfields and McCoys that lead us straight into utter ruin, like Banana Republic. Like somebody's got to hold the line. And I don't think we can react in this sort of emotionally angry way that says, just blow it all up because I'm mad. It's like I read one ProPublica story and I say, blow it all up.
We're all accelerationists now.
No, this is a moment that requires at least some forbearance in where we pick our battles. And look, although as it happens, I think that mass deportations is both an unlikely scenario. I think much more likely, and you and I were talking about this offline not that long ago, is that they do. I was talking to someone from the business community recently who was like, well, Trump will do his photo ops and do that, but like, they're not going to start raiding the companies. Like the business community is very like, he better not mean this. He better not mean this. And but see, you want them to do it so that those people don't get to say, oh yeah, it's just a few photo ops, right? Well, you want the business community to have to, you want them to come raid their companies. And
I want one of two things.
Okay.
Either I want the actual mass deportations, or I want Democrats saying, see, he didn't do anything. What I don't want is Democrats setting their hair on fire about mass deportations, no mass deportations happening, and then Trump saying, look how mad the libs are. We did it. We won. Victory. Problem solved. On to the next thing. That's what I don't want.
This is this is something worth exploring, which is Trump did not build an actual wall.
No.
But he did.
He didn't build the Foxconn plant.
But
Remember the Foxconn plant where Apple was going to make Tim Apple was there to break ground. And it never happened.
He built a wall of liberal anger, though. He built a wall of liberal anger. And that was enough for people. That was enough for most of his supporters.
And
not only because the Own the Libs guys got what they want, and the low info people thought because of how angry people were that he built the wall.
Yes. And this is what I don't want with mass deportations. Because like you, I could, we're not going to do a long thing, but I could explain to you why I am deeply skeptical that anything like mass deportations are going to happen. And so don't give them this. Don't like sit here and be like, oh yeah, he wants to deport 11 million people. Great. Go ahead. I'm waiting. I'm sitting here with my check. You know those clickers they have at theme parks to know how many people are going on each ride. I'm going to sit there at the border with my clicker, clicking on how many people get deported. And
I think they put people on planes. I don't think that they.
Well, that's one of the problems.
I don't think they walk them across in a single file.
I'll be at the airport then. I'll be at all the airports. Click, click, click.
Okay.
Point is, it ain't never going to happen. And instead of setting your hair on fire, worrying about it happening and talking about how he shouldn't do it, so that he can then say, well, we would have done it, but the Democrats stopped us. Like, just stand there and say, oh, really? You're serious? God, I dare you. I double dog dare you.
Sure. I would say, though, that one should not endorse or unendorse or be in favor of or not in favor of policy because one read an article and got very mad at a group of people.
What you're saying
a group of people that can't
right.
vote. Yeah,
but on the other hand, it doesn't feel right.
Doesn't feel right. I know, and I know we're in our feelings. I know that everyone's in their feelings right now, and so I'm trying forbearance as people shout and yell over things that I find irrational because, people are upset that Donald Trump is going to be president. I'm upset that Donald Trump is going to be president, but that is not a reason to burn it all down.
And I'm the worst. Well, there are lots of reasons to burn it all down. Let's be honest. But it's a lot
easier to burn things down than it is to build them again. So we should be really careful about what we set on fire. We're going to want some of these institutions at some point. We're going to miss them when they're gone.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
Sarah, good talking with you. We'll do it
Great
again next
secret.
time. Hit like, subscribe to the channel. Go over to the Bulwark and subscribe to the Bulwark. Bye.
Bye.